The sky was black with smoke. Flames licked at the edges of the marketplace, and the screams of terrified people filled the air. Bisi clutched her baby tightly to her back, her feet stumbling over broken baskets and spilled yams as she ran. Her heart pounded, her throat raw from the smoke. Somewhere in this chaos was her husband, Akin, but she couldn't find him. She stopped near a crumbling wall, panting. The heat of the fire seemed to press against her skin. Where was Akin? He had been right behind her when the commotion began. She turned in circles, scanning the sea of panicked faces, but he was nowhere to be seen. Then, the noise around her seemed to fade, like the world was holding its breath. Out of the smoke, a figure emerged, tall and still, with red eyes that glowed like embers. Bisi froze. The stories her grandmother used to tell came rushing back. Esu guards the crossroads, she used to say. He tests the hearts of men and women alike. The figure's smile was unsettling, too calm in the chaos. His voice cut through the silence like a blade. Bisi, he said, tilting his head as if amused. You've wandered far today. Her breath caught. Who are you? What do you want? He didn't answer. Instead, he raised a hand and pointed. The road ahead split into two paths. One was dark, lined with moving shadows that made her stomach churn. The other led back toward the main street, where fire roared and angry voices shouted. Choose, he said simply. Her knees buckled. What do you mean choose? I don't understand. Every choice matters, he said, his smile widening, even when you don't believe. Bisi looked from one path to the other, her mind racing. If she went home, the shadows could be anything, spirits, thieves, or worse. If she went back to the market, the fire could trap her and the mob might turn violent. Her baby stirred against her back, letting out a small cry. Tears welled up in her eyes. Why are you doing this to me? She whispered. Esu said nothing, only waited. Bisi closed her eyes, muttered a prayer under her breath, and made her choice. She turned toward the path home, stepping into the shadowed road. The darkness seemed alive. Shadows stretched and twisted, reaching for her like fingers. Her breath hitched, but she forced herself to keep walking. It's not real, she whispered, trying to calm herself. They're just shadows. Her steps quickened as the shadows seemed to retreat. The air grew lighter, and then she saw it, her small mud house. Relief flooded her, and she ran the last few steps. She pushed the door open, gasping as she stepped inside. The house was dark, but it was quiet. Too quiet. Akin? She called, her voice trembling. There was no answer. Only the flicker of a weak lamp illuminated the single room. Her eyes fell on the floor. There, in the middle of the room, lay Akin's cap. It was soaked in blood. Her knees buckled as the weight of the sight crashed into her. No, she whispered, crawling toward the cap. No, no, no. A soft laugh echoed behind her. She turned sharply, but the doorway was empty. She could feel him though. Esu. His voice filled the room, calm and steady, as if he were right beside her. You chose, Bisi, he said. Every choice matters. Her baby cried loudly now, his wail piercing the silence. Bisi clutched him tightly as tears streamed down her face. The laughter faded, and the house grew darker. Outside, the world burned, and the crossroads lay silent once more.